break. Stay with us, we have this and more. To start with the news that a governance expert this week slammed government for its indecisiveness, citing the recent U-turn on July 6 independence celebrations. The expert, Professor Happy Kayuni from University of Malawi and Wanda from Kuche, are baffled at government's decision to blow 244 million kwacha towards a day-long event in the middle of a critical need to buy COVID-19 vaccines. Chairperson of the July 6 celebrations, Richard Chimwendo Banda, earlier said the celebrations would be held in all regions, but later changed. This has been revised. Andrew Viano has heard this report.
On Thursday, 5 cabinet ministers led by Minister of Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda told journalists in Lilongwe that the country will hold 6 July independence celebrations in all regions of the country and that about 244 million kwacha was to be spent for the occasion. But barely hours after the announcement, Chimwendo Banda said government has made a U-turn to scale down on the costs for the event following advice from Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The chairperson of the anniversary celebration said the budget has been trimmed to 50 million kwacha. The U-turn, however, has not amused governance experts who have slammed government for being indecisive. Professor Happy Kayuni from University of Malawi says the decision to have the celebrations is ill-timed.
Quite surprising that some individuals actually even thought about holding this function when we should actually be restricting the numbers, etc. So it's as if we are sending a wrong message to the public. Actually, at the same time, we are using the same resources, diverting them to for celebration. Those resources could have been used for something else, like we don't have the vaccine now. What message are we sending to all those stakeholders?
Concurring with Kayuni, another expert, Wanda from Kuche, says it is high time government started making consultations before announcing decisions on national matters.
The change, of course, has been due to public pressure. But then as government, they should be able to learn to make decisions which they think they are right or fit, and they are not just acting because of public pressure. What we can note from this government, the tendency to act on public pressure, is that they are oriented towards being politically right. And that is not good in terms of political leadership.
On July 6 this year, Malawi will be celebrating 57 years of independence from colonial rule.
In the week ending, Parliament referred to its Legal Affairs Committee the Labour Relations Amendment Bill, which seeks to grant employers the right to deduct salaries for workers that are on strike, among other proposed changes. Deputy Minister of Labour Vera Kantukuli told the House when presenting the bill Friday the amendment will be in line with the International Labour Organization's guidelines, which stipulate that deducting the salary does not violate the right to strike. We had this report by Winston Kaimira.
Deputy Minister of Labour Vera Kantukule says the right to strike cannot be violated through deduction of wages of those involved in the industrial action according to the International Labour Organization ILO guidelines. She said when presenting the Labour Relations Amendment Bill that the bill is therefore seeking to grant employers the right to deduct salaries of workers who are on strike.
We are not denying a fundamental right of a person not to go on strike, so people are free to go on strike. What the law is saying is that should you go on strike, then you will not be paid for the time that you are on strike. That's number one. Number two, when an employee has been employed, they are employed to provide a particular service. And if they take away their service, then why should they be paid?
Kantukule also said the bill proposes to empower her ministry to come up with a list of essential service providers who cannot be involved in a strike or lockdowns. She said another proposed amendment is on the system of using employer and employee panelists in hearing of labor cases in the Industrial Relations Court, which, according to the Deputy Minister, contributes to delayed justice delivery. And when presenting the Employment Act Amendment Bill, the Deputy Minister proposed that the tenancy system of farming be removed from the country's laws, saying it is contributing to child labor. The bill also seeks to introduce paternity leave in the country's labor system. This is Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak.
President Lazarus Chakwera called on African leaders to emulate the spirit of Zambia's first president, Kenneth Kaunda, of Pan-Africanism. He spoke during the funeral ceremony of Dr. Kaunda, who died last month after suffering from pneumonia. The Malawi president said unless there is unity, Africa cannot develop. Here is part of what President Chakwera said during the memorial service.
The interment of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda will not merely be the burial of a lifeless body, but the planting of a vibrant seed. The burial of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda will be the planting of Africa's finest seed into Africa's finest soil. From our planting of this seed, let us harvest a new Pan-African generation with the passion for the ideals Dr. Kaunda embodied. From our planting of this seed, let us harvest a new Pan-African generation with a vision for African governments free of corruption and oppression. From our planting of this seed, let us harvest a new Pan-African generation with a vision for borders that feel open, not closed. From our planting of this seed, let us harvest a new Pan-African generation with the energy to trade goods between Africans and Africans. From our planting of this seed, let us harvest a new Pan-African generation with the resolve to build roads and rail, connecting Cairo to Cape Town and Dakar to Djibouti. The harvest of a new Pan-African generation is Dr. Kaunda's lasting legacy. A new Pan-African generation is what Dr. Kaunda sought to build. Now that he has left us, we must embody the ideals of this giant. We must become a fortress that protects Africa from those who seek to exploit and divide her from within and from without. We must walk together with one heart as he taught us. Building one Africa as he showed us, and seeing one vision as he did.
On the political front, the Malawi Electoral Commission MEC on Wednesday declared DPP's Simon Vuwa Kaunda winner of Nkhani Central Fresh parliamentary election. He got 5,422 votes. He beat two other candidates, including closest contender Raf Mhone, who, to retain the seat he won in May 2019 election. In the two local government by-elections, MCP's Hakim Hassan won in Nsanje Lalanje ward, while the DPP's Flo Sehera won in Blantyre Chikwembele ward. Meanwhile, political and governance experts reacted to the official results of Tuesday's by-elections, in which the former governing party DPP triumphed. Wanda Mkuche says the victory of Simon Vuwa Kaunda in Nkhani Central constituency demonstrates the interplay between politics and the law in Malawi. On the other hand, Blantyre-based social commentator Victor Chipofia feels this is a celebration of democracy through the will of the people. Alex Banda gave us this report.
It is now official. Former governing Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, has triumphed in the Tuesday, June 29 by-election. According to Malawi Electoral Commission MEC chairperson Justice Dr. Chifundo Kajale, Simon Vuwa Kaunda has reclaimed the Nkhani Central constituency seat after beating his main rival, Rafa Mhone, who sought the nullification of the previous election at the Supreme Court of Appeal. Political and governance commentator Wanda Mkuche says through this win, DPP has sent a strong message that it is still an option for political power. Mkuche adds that there is an interplay between politics and the law in Malawi.
Because in this case, it seems the law missed some aspects, and that is why, in the end, people have voted otherwise. And it is also a message to Tonse Alliance that people they do have their own choices in terms of the election, and they should look at DPP as not a part in the past, but as also a part in the present.
Political and social commentator Victor Chipofia, on the other hand, takes this as a victory for democracy and rule of law.
This is a good reflection
democracy and the rule of law, to say that the court had nullified it and said that the elections did not go well, and then they went back to the ballot, and then this guy has proven himself to say that he was indeed duly elected through the ballot. So for me, it's more of a celebration of the rule of law than to say that who's performing better and who is not.
DPP has also claimed the local government seat at Chikwembere Ward in Blantyre through Elizabeth Hela, and Hakim Hassan has won it for Malawi Congress Party in Lalanja Ward in Sanje district. For Zodiak in Blantyre, this is Alex Banda.
In our news on June 28, 2021, we broadcast a news article in which we intimated that Lujeru Tea Estate had, following mediation talks, given part of its land to about 5,000 people who had encroached upon it in Mulanje district. But according to the estate, the truth of the matter is that some people from Gladstone village were threatening Rujelu Tea Estates to encroach further on its land. Rujelu Tea Estates then went to court and obtained an order of injunction restraining the said people from encroaching further on Rujelu's land. It adds that when the matter came to mediation, Rujelu agreed that the land, which was already under illegal occupation by some residents of Gladstone village, together with a small parcel of land alongside the illegally occupied land, can be occupied by residents of Gladstone village. The estate further clarifies that the number of people to benefit from this gesture from Lujeru is therefore not 5,000, as we intimated, but about 12 families from Gladstone village who, without prejudice to its ownership rights, the estate permitted to continue to occupy it. This error is regretted, and that particular statement is hereby withdrawn in the company of sincere remorse. You're watching This Week in the News here on Zodiac. We still have more to come. Please stay with us.
We all start differently, but we can all start with the strongest protection. Because some start early, others start late. Some from little homes, others from big ones. Some start together, or all on their own.
It doesn't matter how you start, as long as you start strong. With new Colgate's Maximum Cavity Protection. Now with fluoride plus arginine for 4 times more strengthening power. So that you can give them the strongest start to their day. Colgate. Start strong, stay strong.
You're watching This Week in the News on Zodiac. Welcome back. The headlines as we continue with this edition. Government fought for its indecisiveness on July 6 independence celebrations. President Chakwera calls on African leaders to emulate the spirit of Zambia's first president, Kenneth Kaunda. Political and governance experts react to official results of Tuesday's by-elections in which former DPP triumphed. And in sports, Airtel Top 8 football trophy back after a 2-year break. Moving on with the news, Vice President Saulos Chilima this week challenged non-governmental organizations to be agents of mindset change if the country is to achieve goals in the Malawi 2063 development blueprint. The Vice President spoke Tuesday night in Lilongwe during a World Connect Impact Showcase event. For the past 3 years, World Connect has completed 177 projects across the nation aimed at uplifting lives of rural communities. We had this report.
The Vice President, Dr. Saulos Chilima, says the Malawi 2063 blueprint cannot be achieved unless there is mindset change among Malawians. Dr. Chilima called on stakeholders to refuse to remain being small entities in their work but aspire for greatness. He was speaking last evening during a celebration of work that World Connect has been implementing for the past 3 years across the nation. World Connect Country Director Frank Charles Kasonga says the organization believes in weaving programs in line with the needs of Malawians.
Our program is designed to align almost 100% to the 2063. So, number one, we use the young people that have graduated but also been trained with other organizations like Africa and young African leaders to engage those communities. In the process, we develop skills for those young people to lead and champion development in this country. So we have done skills development, we have done training, and a number of factors, entrepreneurship, that also align with the self-reliance agenda of the Vision 2063.
Only one project, according to World Connect, has failed to register expected outcomes out of the 177 projects that World Connect has been implementing. For Zodiak, this is Chimwemwe Panata.
Former Governor of the Reserve Bank, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, and 3 others were this week arrested and released on court bail in Lilongwe. Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chirwa slapped them with a bail bond of 5 million kwacha each. The 4 have also been asked not to leave Lilongwe without the knowledge of the court. They were arrested in connection to dubious bank transfers during their time at the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Chimwemwe Padata had the full story.
During their second court appearance, Lilongwe Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chirwa granted bail to the 4 accused persons. They were asked to pay 5 million kwacha bail bonds each and a non-cash of 5 million kwacha to their 2 sureties each. Former Reserve Bank of Malawi Governor Dr. Lazarus Chakwera and the 3 others are accused of being involved in dubious transactions during their time at the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Powell Nkurabasa is one of the defense lawyers.
We are required to pay the sum of 5 million kwacha for each of the accused persons, and 2 sureties bonded at the sum of 5 million kwacha each. And they also be required to report to police and to surrender travel documents.
The Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chirwa has since set 29th July to commence trial of the case. This is Chimwemwe Panata for Zodiak.
Tuesday morning, female legislators, cabinet ministers and Speaker Catherine Gotani-Hara conducted business wearing school uniforms. The Minister of Gender, Patricia Kaliati, said this is part of demonstrating their commitment of the legislators in promoting girls' education as countries observed the International Day of the African Child, which falls on 16 June every year. Winston Gaimila saw it all for us.
The move by the female members of Parliament, female cabinet ministers, as well as Speaker of Parliament and Second Deputy Speaker, was part of commemorating the International Day of the African Child, according to Minister of Gender, Patricia Kaliati. All female legislators were in school uniforms, and those that did not put on school uniform, including Minister of Education Agnes Nyalonje, were ordered to leave the August House. Minister Kaliati said members of Parliament have the duty of promoting girls' education, calling on all of them to champion various initiatives for this to be achieved. Leader of the House, Richard Chimwendo concurred with Kaliati. He called for collaborated efforts in dealing with challenges affecting girls' education, such as sexual violence. Speaker of Parliament Catherine Gotani-Hara encouraged girls in the country to work hard in their education.
As much as we know they're going through a lot, there are so many challenges that they face, but we want to encourage them that even with the challenges that they're facing, no desk in schools, not enough school class blocks, no support from parents, and so many other challenges that they meet, that they should still persevere and they should still work hard.
Female legislators from both government and opposition benches took photos together while singing some songs as part of the celebrations. This is Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak.
Meanwhile, Parliament has passed 2 bills authorizing government to obtain grants from the World Bank to carry out project activities which include procurement of doses of COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine. Minister of Finance Felix Milusu says the vaccine doses shall be imported from India under the COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health Systems Preparedness Project using 24 billion kwacha World Bank additional funding for the project.
Which the Honourable House has passed. The first bill was to do with the funding that we're getting from the World Bank, for our COVID response. And the money we're getting is about $30 million, which is going to help us to respond in terms of buying vaccines, for our people, as well as also buying some oxygen equipment that we need in our facilities, in our hospitals. This is a very important bill because it gives us the access to the financing from the World Bank.
We now go to sports news. The Airtel Top 8 tournament is back this year after a 2-year break, which created uncertainty regarding the future of the sponsorship. This was disclosed midweek at a press briefing which Farm President Walter Nyamilandu and authorities from Airtel Malawi Limited held in Blantyre. Sambanda with the details.
An extra 2 million kwacha has been added on the prize money for the champion from 15 million kwacha, which was the previous chunk during the first 3 years of the sponsorship, meaning this year's winner of the Airtel Top 8 shall smile all the way to the bank to cash a staggering 17 million kwacha. Airtel Malawi Limited's managing director Charles Kamoto said the company was excited to commit itself towards the development of football standards in the country, as evidenced by a number of players that were discovered during the first 3 years of the sponsorship. But Kamoto spoke highly on the need for football authorities to make certain football is free from violence and hooliganism. The mobile network service provider has committed itself to another 3 years of sponsorship, and the package has increased from 198 million kwacha to 234 million kwacha. In his remarks, Farm President Walter Nyamilandu hailed Airtel Malawi Limited for demonstrating its passion for the game by committing itself to the sponsorship of the Airtel Top 8 at a time the corporate world seemed not interested in injecting resources into sports due to COVID-19. Nyamilandu assured Airtel Malawi Limited of Farm's commitment in making certain the competition is run professionally and warned the teams of stiffer punishments if they indulge in violence. The Farm president further said the benefits of having competitions such as the Airtel Top 8 is evidenced by the Flames' qualification for the Africa Cup of Nations finals. All the 8 teams to compete will receive 1 million kwacha each, and man of the match during each game will be receiving 50,000 kwacha. Silver Strikers are the reigning holders of the Airtel Top 8 silverware, which they won in 2019 after beating Karonga United in the final. The Central Bankers were also the first team to win the cup in 2017 before Blue Eagles in 2018.
And that's all we had in this week in the news. A reminder of some of the top stories before we leave you. Government voted for its indecisiveness on July 6 independence celebrations. President Chakwera calls on African leaders to emulate the spirit of Zambian First President Kenneth Kaunda. Political and governance experts react to official results of Tuesday's by-elections in which former DPP triumphed. And in sports, Airtel Top 8 football trophy back after a 2-year break. Visit zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Twesa Ngosi. From the rest of the news crew, it's thanks for watching and bye for now.
Moyo usamalileni